with Uncle T.
Vision View Sports Radio headlines with Cabby Rodriguez.
Hey you. Yes you. Does your company need a corporate or online video? Are you struggling to convert your idea into a video you want your organization or website to have? Well, look no further than Vision View Productions. This production house has a wealth of experience to turn your idea into a masterpiece. To set up a meeting with the team, email info@visionview.co.za or call South Africa on 011-781-3435.
Are you ready for the heavyweight championship?
Dida Boxing Promotions in partnership with Vision View Productions brings you the Day of Reckoning, scheduled to entertain on the 30th of March at the Kagiso Memorial and Recreation Center. 2 vacant titles are up for grab. Order your early tickets at 60 Rand for general access and 400 Rand for that special VIP touch. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Be sure to get there early to get a great seat so you do not miss out on any of the knockout action. For tickets, contact info@visionview.co.za. The Day of Reckoning. Don't be caught unaware.
For the thousands in attendance, let's get ready to rumble!
It's 16:32 and we are having fun here in studio, and we are with Bonang Mohale, Chief Executive Officer of Business Leadership South Africa. Just please educate us on BLSA, but short,
So Business Leadership South Africa was founded in 1960. Currently it represents 86 CEOs of major corporations listed on the JSE. So I'm the CEO of these CEOs. 53 of them are responsible for more than half the GDP of this country.
Sure. So we have a leader of leaders here in studio with us. And Tate Mohale, I don't want to make light of this because you've got serious accolades. And in November 2001, you received the Presidential Award for your servanthood in South African industry and the economic empowerment of previously disadvantaged people. But I see you have taken it from empowerment to emancipation. Please talk to us about that. Because I've always said it's good to be empowered, but when I read the book and I read about your approach to say we need to move beyond empowerment, we need to emancipate our people, that was mind-blowing.
So some of the things that we ought to be taking seriously is the fact of gender equality. Mm-hmm. Because during our struggle days, we used to say African women suffer under triple oppression. So today, 51% of the population is female, and yet their representations in positions of leadership is less than 24%. 2019, we pay women 83% of what we pay men for work of equal value. And yet we know that when we put a smartphone in the hands of women, not only does the nutrition, education, and health of their own children improve, but that of society and the communities from which they come. When you give a man R1 million, he's probably thinking of buying a red Ferrari with a white leather interior. And then they think where to park it. When a woman has R1 million, the woman is thinking, how can I put a roof over my 2 children? Take them to better schools so that when they are ill, they don't have to go to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, but I can take them probably to Leratong or maybe to Netcare or to a private facility close to where I live. So this emancipation says, you see, we don't have to say, but we must empower our women because they already have the power. They are multi-skilled. They've got all the skills that are required in the 21st century. In fact, when we look at upskilling and reskilling and retooling for the 4th industrial revolution, these are skills that come natural to women. The reason why they are not CEOs is because men are the ones that are not kicking down the doors to make it easy for these women. So you don't have to empower them, you just have to emancipate them, to be themselves. For them to succeed, they don't have to emulate what men do, they just have to come in with a fresh and new perspective. So for me,
digital radio station in
do like to apologize for that. You know, the gremlins are messing with us. But you are on to something here, Tate Mohale, that women emancipation, it's not just women who should be doing the job and struggling. Men should be kicking down these doors and literally dismantling this concrete ceiling.
Exactly. So just two last things. So the first says, from those to whom much is given, much more is expected. Maya Angelou says, if you have an opportunity to be learned and to be taught, teach. If you have, give. Therefore, from men, we are beneficiaries of patriarchy.
Right.
The work system expects men to succeed. It's geared, designed, engineered, orchestrated, and agitated for male success. If you are a woman, you have to work probably 10 times more before the system allows and recognizes your contribution. Therefore, men must emancipate women. They must do more to bring down the concrete ceiling. White people must do more to ensure that black people get into the middle class, because lastly, my grandmother used to say, when your neighbor is hungry, you can sleep at night, not the neighbor.
You spoke actually about that, black forgiveness, white sharing. But it's something that I'm going to talk to. Here's a woman who has contributed in the book, and she says, I know Bonang through Business Leadership South Africa. He's an incredibly brave, committed South African who has significantly helped to position business as a force for good in the country, particularly in the darkest days of 2017. We interact a lot on various platforms, and it's exactly the same across all channels. For me, the standout characteristics of Bonang are his courage and his ability to say whatever he feels needs to be said in very clear terms, even if that is uncomfortable for some to hear. And this comes from a woman. And a woman who happens to lead the Johannesburg Stock Exchange or Johannesburg Securities Exchange, Nikki Newton King. Such tribute. I mean, I read of an account where you walked into an organization, you requested everybody's resume and said, let me look at the skills in this company, only to find out the receptionist has a qualification in communications and marketing. And right now she heads up a communication and marketing department in one of the huge companies. How does one do that? This obsession with people. I guess it's Ubuntu.
Absolutely. But also it's what we have been brought up to really internalize. Mother Teresa says, before you expect the world to be clean, clean your own backyard. You can't look at government and say, no, but you are not building black talent. You're not creating black managers when you yourself are a manager of 10 people. So I walk into BLSA, Figile Faith Mtetwa is reading for LLB, but she's a receptionist. On Monday, I said on Wednesday, you are going to 61 Catherine Street to join our communications team. But on Tuesday, make sure that you found a receptionist, because this is not rocket science, so that you can at least be given a challenge that is closest to where you are. You see, one of the things that we need to see collectively and accept and internalize is that we are much more than what we have become. And that in the places where we work, we are underutilized and understretched, and we should not live all our lives thinking that's all we can ever become. We need to dream big. We need to fly and soar like an eagle, so that to us, we say, not even the sky is the limit.
And I mean, for those who do not know, this is not just a glorified account of your life or the organizations that you've led. I mean, I read in the book, and that's what attracted me so much. It's the frankness with which you admit to some of the things, and you talk about the status, of the organizations that you lead. For instance, in page 43 of the book, it reads that my strategy here has been first to acknowledge that this 60-year-old BLSA had an image problem. It is, after all, the institution that used to defend apartheid. It's an organization that paid black people less than white people based only on the color of their skin. This is an organization whose members paid women and continue to pay women less than men based purely on the agenda. You talk about this 83 companies or 86?
86
companies that are listed on the GSE. How has progress been and how uncomfortable are some of these conversations when you converse with some of these leaders?
So leadership is about accepting that if it was easy, everybody would do it. It is the hard in it that makes it great. You know, today in 2019, if you are a black miner, you still struggle to get a blasting certificate because the Afrikaner government at that time was afraid that if they taught you how to use dynamite, you could get angry and bomb their homes because of the 350 years of apartheid, exclusion, subjugation, and oppression. It didn't matter how many degrees you had. If you were black, you could only be a personnel officer. Your job was to listen to white managers, interpret it so that you can translate it to black workers. The black workers didn't trust you because you drank tea with these white managers. The white managers did not accept you as part of them because you were black. So when you worked at 222 Marshall Street, they had toilets for white people and they had toilets for black people. They had a restaurant for white people and they had a canteen for black people. You went to the Carlton Center and there was Cine 1, Cine 2, Cine 3, and black people were not allowed. So you were the most stressed human being because your own people rejected you. And the ones that were aspiring to join their ranks as a manager could only refer to you as an officer. How then do you rise in the face of adversity in spite of the challenges that you face? That's how we became managers. I became a manager on the 27th of April, 1984. She wasn't even born. At that time, you knew that you were not wanted. You were not needed. And the system was going to do everything possible. A white young man would come in and they'll say, teach him everything you know. After 6 weeks, he becomes your supervisor and he earns 10 times what you earn. You then say, now that Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela has gifted us with this united, non-racial, inclusive, constitutional democracy, how can we honor that? We can only honor that in every circle of influence, in every locus of control where we are. Whether it's 5 or 10 people that report to you, you go out of your way to lift as you rise. There are many Figile Faith Mtetwas out of every corner that are simply crying for an opportunity. Try me, and I'll pleasantly surprise you. And the most amazing thing, when you give them the responsibilities, they rise up to meet the challenges of those responsibilities. Lastly, nobody was born an MD, a chairman, or a CEO. Somebody believed in you and gave you an opportunity. Isn't it amazing that those teachers that have high expectations of their pupils generally do well?
That's amazing, Tate Mohale. And you spoke as well about the purpose of business, and I was pleasantly surprised because I've always been of this paradigm that business is about profit maximization. You must shareholder maximization. But you say not at all. As you grow older, you realize that business is about survival.
Exactly.
Please talk to us about that.
When you did economics at Harvard, at all the Ivy League universities, because our management dogma is Western, not even Eastern.
Sure.
Where the biggest economies are, the highest growth comes from. It says exactly that. It says the purpose of business is profit maximization for the shareholder. And in the book, I say, actually, first and foremost, it's about survive. Because if you survive, you can make money until it comes out of your ears. The second one is about bringing about this notion called shared value. You see, one of the key challenges facing boards today is that corporate decision-making should not only depend on the whims and dictated by the wishes of the shareholders, but that it is consistent with the expectations of the broader stakeholder community. Anybody that is likely to have an impact on your business, and that you hold senior executives accountable. The third, it also says, it's about ensuring that you deliver on what you say and what you promise, so that you don't talk left, but you walk right.
Yeah.
Fourthly, it says you need to do no harm. All your employees must come to work with 2 hands, with 10 fingers on both of those hands. They must go back to their loved ones every day, complete. You should not harm them because the lift fell on them or they bent themselves, but also don't harm the society where you're located and the community where you're based. Had we taken this seriously, Marikana would not have happened. Because those executives pass every morning and every afternoon through this informal settlement, and yet these are their colleagues. They should have asked themselves, what is it that I can do to use the might, the resources, the force, the impetus of this big company to make sure that they have a decent roof over their head. The last 2 says, do something active. And that active thing, it's about making the world a better place. That is the job of business. Lastly, we expect business to give us ethical leadership. It sounds tautologous because leadership cannot be anything other than ethical. If you do anything else, you can't refer to yourself as a leader. Because ethical leadership gives you good policies. Good policies make it easy for you to attract and retain foreign direct investment. When you have FDI, the economy grows. When the economy grows, then and only then can you talk about the redistribution of wealth, not the redistribution of poverty. When the economy is growing, the only logical outcome is jobs. Therefore, you can't start by saying create jobs. You need to say, let's create growth first. My grandmother used to say, isn't it amazing that those people who chase money hardly have any? But those that follow their passion make money until it comes out of their ears. Tiger Woods would play golf even if he doesn't get paid because he's passionate about golf. That's what he loves. Imagine when all our people can be emancipated to do what they love. 2/3 of the people in our companies hate what they do. They hate waking up in the morning. And yet they do it because they've got bonds, they've got kids, they have to pay for their education. We need to find the square pegs in the round holes and say, what are you passionate about? And point them in that direction. That is a profound job of a leader.
Ntate Mohale, you know, you spoke about Tiger Woods and golf, and I'm going to make this practical. You know, you've got a South African woman now. She was born in Eswatini. She's a golfer. I learned of the story just the other day. You know, she's consistently in the top 3, top 4 of golf, you know, in South Africa and all over the world. But she can hardly, you know, attract sponsorship. You have at least we've done something about Kgothatso Montjane, you know, the first black woman to play in Wimbledon, you know, here in South Africa. And when we talk about these athletes and the heights they reach in their professions, why is South African business not coming to the party in terms of assisting and lifting these women up?
Exactly why we are in business leadership South Africa. Because we said to ourselves, imagine if we transform BLSA, we transform the economy. Right. BLSA employs 13.5 million people, our members.
Sure.
Government employs 2.3 million people. So